how is it that you are so much fascinated by Narendra? Narendra was the name of Vivekananda. He did not say anything immediately. Another time when he was in the right mood, while talking a lot of things, suddenly says, you know what happened one day when I was in my state of trance? I saw a vision, a beautiful little child shooting up Chidakasa, the consciousness, the infinity of consciousness, the sky of consciousness, the space of consciousness. Higher and higher this child shot up. And ultimately it reaches a luminous sphere where 7 rishis are lost in meditation. This child goes and hangs on to one of them, one of the saint's necks, and then starts pulling him down. After a while, he opened his eyes and smiled and nodded, giving his consent that he will come down. Beautiful, you know, Ramakrishna was a marvelous storyteller. He's saying this, he simply says, when I saw Narendra for the first time, I knew who he was. Which means, this child of the vision of Sri Ramakrishna was his own soul, his own psyche. It wanted somebody to carry forward his work in a certain direction. Brahmananda was the other man for spiritual, but for social direction. He researched India to be possible. He wanted somebody, and he brought down a liberated soul. But once the liberated soul comes, he also suffers like us. That's a different thing. That's a different theory altogether. So we see, this is another attitude to life that we can take. High. But sometimes, after having been acquainted with these things as a very humble student of mysticism, my question was, is that, does this not amount to the fact that we have to break away from this life as we lead it? The life as you are leading as executives in a highly dynamic institution. The life I am leading as a teacher, teaching the students. The life Professor Bhatnagarji has led, pouring himself into problems, social and economic. Now, these things do not mean then anything. We have to concentrate only on liberation, freedom from desires and all that. Why then avatar after avatar come down and they try to improve the general condition of this world entities, the community, the humanity entities? Buddha spoke of Mayavada, as we understand, and Shankara spoke of Mayavada. But if the entire humanity is illusion, why should he bother to move from one corner of India to another corner and convince the illusion that they are illusion? If everybody is illusion, what is the sense in convincing the illusion that you are an illusion? You just dismiss them. It is like that there is a great Mayavadin who is speaking about Mayavada, lecturing to a small crowd, and suddenly a terrific bull comes pressing down, and everybody please, he also please. After that he comes back, somebody asks him, said, everything is Maya, why did you run away? His answer, his question, who ran away? That is also Maya. Fine, we can logically silence many things, but my common sense does not reconcile with this advent of avatar. Why should a Rama at all try to rescue Sita from the clutches of Ravana? He could have very well said, I wash my hands of it. Let the demon do whatever it likes to do, the daughter of Jara. I have nothing to do with it. I am a pessimist. I want peace. Why did Krishna inspire? And why did Krishna insist on the fact which is of cardinal importance? Billion dollar question. Why should he ask Arjuna to consider the battlefield as a potential yoga khetra? How can Yuddha Khetra become Yoga Khetra? Why at all, if this material world is not user? If the institution of kingship, institution of subjectship the whole nation, the country, the codes of conduct, if they have nothing to do with the real spiritual goal, then why at all these things should be possible? I salute the theories which have been given earlier, but I was not myself very much satisfied with these things. I knew that something more was lacking. You know, Bertrand Russell was an agnostic. He did not believe in mysticism. But in one of his writings, there is that anguish which visits every conscious human being. He says, I am not quoting exact words, this is the spirit of it, that when sometimes I go to the roof of my house early in the morning and look at the eastern horizon, where there is a promise of sunshine, I ask myself, did Providence create such a vast panorama, a universe, such a wondrous object like this globe, for these puny human beings to become it? And human beings have progressed from a primitive state to the most mentally developed state today. Undoubtedly, nobody can deny there is a process at work. And that process at work has not been determined by any intelligent human being. At which stage did a human being decide that I should develop a mind? Mind developed. The pre-man creature, whatever technical scientific term you give him, he did not want to decide that I should have a lot of intelligence. I should have intellectual capacity. I should have a wit. No. Because they were involved in the whole process, the creative process, which is at work behind the entire evolution. Because that was involved, it evolved. And Sri Aurobindo says, this phenomenon that is man is not an accident. That great atomic scientist, Lis Mittner once said that to believe that man just out of a big bang, course of time things happened and man also came out of it, is equivalent to believing that there was an explosion in a printing press, as a result of which Webster's dictionary came out. Because you can't change the placement of any word in the dictionary. Such is the intricacy of the entire human physical constitution. I mean, my dear friend Rajat Babu was speaking about some beautiful things, biological truths. Just marvel at one of these items. 10,000 million nerve cells constitute that pinkish jelly we call the brain inside our skull. 10,000 million nerve cells, each one communicating with each nerve cell. And scientists give the simile, it is equal to 5 planets, equal to our globe, our earth, having telephonic and radio connection with every individual of the 5 planets. That is the condition of the human brain. Now, this could be the result of an accident. There is no plan behind it. Well, to cut short the story, now certainly there is an answer. If Sri Krishna Vandi insisted that this earth is a future, the gross physical activity has a future, he meant it's a divine future. And the path is not to avoid work, not to break away from work. But what is then the path? The solution has been given. The solution has been reinforced by, in the present time, the light of Sri Aurobindo. Every action could be dedicated to the divine. Yoga is not something breaking away from life, or yoga is not even something following a certain code of conduct. Then fine, you do pranayama, you do certain meditation, you do certain asanas, excellent, but real yoga is not that. They are all supplementary aspects of yoga. Yoga means union. And union with that from which we have been separated. And that union is possible every moment through simply changing a mental attitude. You have all heard the story, the Konark temple in Orissa, you have heard. You have seen many of you, Konark temple. King Narasimha was building the temple, founder of the temple. He had the habit of putting on a disguise and coming and supervising the works of the laborers, architects, engineers. One day, 5 laborers, workers are chiseling stone, cutting stone. He comes and stands behind first one and he asks, "Why, what are you doing?" He does not know the king is asking. He looks back, angrily says, "Are you blind? Don't you see that I am cutting stone? And you are asking me, what am I doing?" The king quietly moves the second person. "What are you doing, bhai?" This is all I am earning my daily wage. What else? He goes to the third person, he asks, "What are you doing?" "Obeying the king's order." He goes to the fourth person, "What are you doing?" "Oh, what a great, grand fortune. I am contributing my humble mite to the invocation of the mighty Sun God upon this earth." The fourth man is doing yoga. He is also earning his living, as all of us are doing. He is also obeying the king's order, as we are obeying the politicians of the administration of the government. He is also cutting stone, as you are executing your job, your routine work. But he is doing something along with this, and that is strictly matter of consciousness and attitude. He is offering his work to the divine. A truth which had been so emphatically laid down by Sri Krishna. Even you are fighting the war, even killing human beings could become an avenue of yoga, provided you did not do it for your own interest, from an egoistic point of view, but exclusively under a certain inspiration, which you must seek and receive. And that makes all the difference between the physical activities as we ordinarily do and the activity of a yogi. We all can become prachanna yogis. Sri Aurobindo says everybody who is contributing to the lot of humanity is a yogi, but unconscious. Every scientist who explores, every sociologist who gives a new theory, every explorer who discovers a hitherto unknown horizon of this wondrous world, they're all doing yoga, but unconsciously. The moment one becomes conscious, the situation becomes different. Dear friends, life and death, they are often put together as if they are opposite to each other. Death is not opposite of life. Death is an absence of a particular mode of life. An absence not of life, of a particular mode of life. Today you see me as a man, as a colleague in thoughts, talking to you. I am a speaker for you. Tomorrow when I will be traveling with some other people, for them I am a traveler, a fellow traveler. When I reach my classes before my students, I am a teacher. When a childhood friend comes to me, for him I am a friend. Just as the modes appearances change from one role to another role, in the infinite progress of our inner being, which is, I would not say a single word in which I do not believe in this together. I believe that we are immortal. We have a soul which does not perish along with the annihilation or absence of this physical body. It is just a change of mood, a change of appearance. It goes on. And if you remember that ancient, great parable of life and death, you must have read in your school days. Can I another 5 minutes? Are you present? 5-10 minutes ago. So, you know the parable of the riddle of Sphinx. You see, along a deserted road which passes by a mountain. Atop the mountain there sits a strange creature. The face of a woman, the body of a lion, its tail is a serpent, his paws are the paws of a dog. And whoever happened to pass by, the strange creature suddenly would ask him to stop. In those days there were very few travelers. And the weary traveler would stop and discover a fantastically strange being, fearful being, asking him to, commanding him to stop. And the being will say, you cannot pass by this way unless you answer my riddle. What is the riddle? Who is the creature who walks on 4 legs in the morning? As the day grows, he walks on 2 legs. In the evening, he walks on 3 legs. Even if the traveler has mastered the entire Encyclopedia Britannica, he won't be able to find out what kind of creature is this. Walks in the morning on 4 legs, day grows 2 legs, in the evening 3 legs. And as the sun goes down, this Sphinx will pounce upon the traveler and kill him, tear him asunder. One day, the great hero Oedipus happened to pass by. And when confronted by the same question, his immediate answer was, I am the answer. Now Sphinx is taken away. What do you mean? You are the answer? And he says, the answer is man. Man in the morning of his work, of his life, that is when he is an infant, he crawls on all fours, 2 hands and 2 legs. All the 2 hands and also his legs, 4 legs. As the day grows, as his life grows, he walks on 2 legs. In the evening of his life, he takes recourse to a stick, the 3rd leg. So I am the answer. The moment the riddle has been solved, Sphinx jumps down to its own death. What a remarkable allegorical myth to its means. Because man did not know himself, he dies. The day man has known himself, death dies. Death becomes, the constitution of Sphinx itself is illusory. There can't be a being like that. So that is what is a mighty great wisdom embedded in a myth. Now Sri Aurobindo's one of his aphorisms. Death is the question nature puts to man, and a reminder that he has not yet found himself. The day we are reminded again and again of the same thing through deaths, but when we have found ourselves, there is no death. Well, Sri Aurobindo's vision is a highly adventurous vision. But those of you who start reading Sri Aurobindo, you will feel the truth behind every word he utters. And one does not have to become an intellectual giant. Sometimes I conclude with a very beautiful experience. In a certain university, small town university, a very learned professor had been invited, he's a scientist, to speak on evolution. It was for the members of the staff and research scholars only. And about an audience like this much. And at the end of his speech, he speaks from pre-Darwinian theories of evolution, from the pre-Darwinian days up to Professor Louis Leakey, his son. He covers the entire range of evolutionary theories, and he says that you may be surprised to hear from me, he says, he's a scientist, that the most satisfying theory of evolution I have come across is not by a scientist, but by a great mystic, Sri Aurobindo. Because he gives for the first time, he substantiates the theory of evolution by theory of involution. Because the flower was involved in the bud evolved into flower. The bud was involved in the stem evolved into a bud. The stem was involved in the plant was involved in the seed. So, the last to be involved will evolve at the end. Life has evolved, mind has evolved, but beyond that, there is what it terms as supermind. Supermind, the concept of supermind is not something a more cultured or a more powerful or a more refined mind. It is qualitative something different, having a transforming power, a new power which can completely divinize the present human being. And that is why Mother Nature is waiting patiently for millions of years for that miracle to happen. One day it will happen. We are still, this is 20th century, we have revolutionary developments. According to historians, and Professor Bhatnagar will agree with me, in the entire known history of time, no century had been so much eventful as the 20th century. We had two great world wars, collapse of imperialism, colonialism. Imperialism and colonialism were institutions of the other day. But what was much older than imperialism, colonialism, monarchy? Thousands of years the world has been governed by kings. That also collapsed. Feudalism collapsed. In other words, new ideas came, feminism, great scientific revolution, technological revolutions. But everything, when you analyze, they pointed one thing, making man more and more free. More and more freedom is given to man. In Life Divine, first chapter, Sri Aurobindo says, there are 5 goals for which humanity is striving: God, light, freedom, bliss, and immortality. And all these things, immortality, that reminds me of a very wondrous thing. You see, in 1980, a book came out by a renowned American doctor, Alvin Silverstein, The Conquest of Death. And he says in that book, in the American context, he says that there are 4 major killers in America. One is diabetes, one is heart-related diseases, third is cancer, and the 4th is major killers, accident. Then he analyzes everything and he says that in coming 20 years' time, the medical science would have come up with a cure for all these 3 diseases, and the only cause of disease will be accident. So, my readers, he says at the end, if you can survive this century, you will become one of the first members of the generations of immortals. The book came out, sold very well. Next year, on the horizon of human destiny appeared the dreaded AIDS, undreamt of by anyone. And we do not know what is the answer even to. If a new disease could evolve like that, who knows if another half a dozen new diseases would not evolve. There's a footnote to one of the chapters in Life Divine, Aurobindo Life Divine, written long ago in 40s. The footnote says, a day will come when science or occult science will claim that they have found the sure cure for death, but still, soul under some pretext will leave the body, as long as it has not found an appropriate medium to further and further explain it. I mean to express itself in more and more ennobling ways. So, Sri Aurobindo believed that there will be a supramental age dawning upon this earth, where the life will be transformed out of the total ignorance in which we remain submerged. What I was saying, in 20th century, all the developments lead towards freedom. We are more and more free today, but we are not free in our consciousness. We are not free from the ignorance, and death alone is the frontier which must be crossed. It is this freedom which will justify all other freedom. And as I was saying, that when that scientist was giving that talk, I am just concluding in the next half minute or 1 minute. And then, by the time he concluded his talk, concluded on Sri Aurobindo's theory, involution, evolution, clouds had gathered. It was about to rain. So he told his audience, please don't wait for formality. please disperse, and hurriedly you disperse. My host will come and he will take me in the few minutes. And everybody went, but thanking him, congratulating him. Passing by, some of them said, "Sir, it's a beautiful talk you gave, and we believe it. There is nothing to dispute. But only thing, can this man one day become, can this life become life to life? The kind of life we are living, life of greed, life of inertia, life of all kind of nonsense." The professor had no time to answer, or he was a scientist in any case. They left. Rains came down. His host brought his car to the portico. And as the professor is going to board his car, one person was holding the umbrella. And he said, "Sir, I heard your talk. I could understand." He's an old matriculate. He had been a primary school teacher. His son is a small, he does some job, small job in the university. And he's a caretaker also. The son is also caretaker of the auditorium. So he comes from the village once in a while and stays with his son. And he's saying that, "Sir, I heard your talk. I don't understand why some of the learned professors while departing expressed doubt about the possibility of the present life becoming life divine." And this scientist looked at him with amazement. Then he said, "Sir, that is my son's one-room apartment. Can you see in the rain there is a small pond? Sometimes in the morning when I come out of my son's house, I see out of the mud a lotus has bloomed. If out of a stuff like mud, a marble like a lotus could be possible with the grace of sunlight, why not out of the mud of present human consciousness, with the grace of the divine, light divine should not be possible?" Thank you.